I opened the real Annabelle's case at 3 a.m., and what happened next had nothing to do with ghosts. It had to do with a man who lived 3 houses down from me. Before I tell you what happened that night, I need you to understand something. I didn't believe in any of it. Not haunted dolls, not cursed objects, not stories about things moving on their own. I've always been the kind of person who needs proof. Something solid, something that can be explained. If you enjoy true stories that don't rely on fantasy, but on the kind of fear that could actually happen to you, consider subscribing. Most of what I share comes from real experiences or events told to me directly. I never expected I'd become one of those stories. This happened in Connecticut in late October of 2022. I live about 40 minutes from where the real Annabelle doll is kept. Not the movie prop. The actual Raggedy Ann doll that was investigated by Ed and Lorraine Warren decades ago. It's housed inside the Warrens' occult museum, which isn't open to the public the way it used to be, but the artifacts are still stored on the property. I never cared much about it. It was just local folklore. Something teenagers talked about around bonfires. My life was normal. Quiet. I work remote as a graphic designer, so I'm home most days. My neighborhood's small. 12 houses on a cul-de-sac surrounded by trees. People wave. They mow their lawns on Sundays. Nothing dramatic. 3 houses down lived a man named Carl. Carl was in his mid-50s. Single, lived alone, retired early from what he told people was security consulting. He kept to himself mostly, but not in a suspicious way, just quiet. He'd nod if you passed him walking your dog. The first time I had a real conversation with him was because of Annabelle. It was a Saturday afternoon. I was outside trimming a hedge when he walked over, hands in his jacket pockets. "You're into that stuff, right?" he asked. "What stuff?" "Paranormal. Warren Museum. Annabelle." I laughed. "Not really. I just live nearby." He studied me for a second, like he was measuring something. "You ever wanted to see it up close?" That should have been my first red flag. But it didn't feel like one at the time. It felt like small talk. Like a neighbor trying to connect. "I mean, sure," I said. "Who wouldn't?" He nodded slowly. "I might be able to arrange that." I thought he was joking. Over the next few weeks, he brought it up casually. Almost rehearsed. He claimed he had a friend who worked with a private collection tied to the Warrens' estate. Said sometimes items were moved for preservation or documentation. He never bragged. Never smiled when he said it. He just stated it plainly. I didn't take him seriously. Until one night he knocked on my door at 9:40 p.m. I remember the time because I was midway through heating leftovers and annoyed at the interruption. When I opened the door, Carl stood there holding a small wooden crate. It wasn't big, maybe 2 feet long. Old wood. Iron let. "You wanted to see it," he said quietly. I laughed again. "See what?" He didn't answer. He just turned the crate slightly so I could see the faded, stenciled lettering on the side. "Artifact storage, handle with care." My stomach tightened. "You're not serious," I said. "Dead serious." He asked if he could come in. And here's where I made the second mistake. I let him. We sat at my kitchen table, the crate between us. He explained that the doll had been temporarily moved for cataloging. Essayé to Osandi, technically public, but no laws were being broken by showing it privately. He spoke in calm, steady sentences. I asked why he'd bring it to me. He looked at me for a long moment. "Because you don't believe?" That answer sat wrong. But curiosity is powerful, stronger than fear. Sometimes. He unlatched the crate. Inside was a glass case, smaller than I expected. Thick, clear panels. Inside that, the Raggedy Ann doll. White yarn hair. Red stitched smile. Button eyes. It looked harmless. Almost cheap. My heart was beating faster than it should have been. "There it is," Carl said. I leaned closer. Nothing happened. No cold breeze. No flickering lights. Just silence. I felt almost embarrassed for being tense. Kyle watched me more than the doll. "You ever think about what makes something powerful?" he asked. "Belief, I guess. Access. he corrected softly. He told me the stories. The nursing students, the scratches, the car accident involving a man who mocked the doll. He didn't exaggerate. He recited it like a case file. Then he said something that shifted the tone completely. The stories aren't the interesting part. What is? The people who want to test them. I remember laughing again, but it sounded forced. He left the case in my kitchen overnight. He said he needed to retrieve paperwork and would come back the next morning. I should have refused, but I didn't. That night, I barely slept. Not because of the doll. Because of Carl. Around 1:30 a.m., I heard something outside. A soft crunch of gravel. I looked through the blinds. Carl was standing in my driveway, just standing there, facing my house, not moving. I told myself he was being protective, maybe nervous about leaving the case here. Even after Carl moved out, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was still watching me. Carl moved out the following week. A rental truck came early morning. I pretended to work at my desk, but watched through the blinds. He moved boxers quietly, steady, like he didn't want to disturb anything. At one point, he looked directly toward my house. Not at a window, not at a door. Just at the house, like he knew I was inside. He never waved goodbye. By noon, he was gone. The street felt wrong. That first night without him, I slept with all lights off. I tried convincing myself the fear existed only because he was nearby. At 2:59 a.m. I woke up. No noise, no dream. Just awake. My body had reacted before my brain understood it. I checked the cameras. Front yard, empty. Backyard, empty. Driveway, empty. But one notification sat in the app. Motion detected garage camera timestamped those 41 a.m. The garage is detached, 15 feet from the house. Nothing should move. I opened the clip. Door closed. 30 seconds of still darkness. Then the handle moved slightly. Not opened. Just tested, like someone checking if it was locked. Later, at 2:47 a.m., my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I ignored it. Buzzed again. I answered. Silence. Then Carl's voice. You still awake? My throat tightened. Yeah. You should open it. Open what? The case. My chest went cold. Why would I do that? To see what happens. I hung up and locked my bedroom door, something I'd never done. At 3 a.m., kitchen light turned on. I hadn't touched it. Heart pounding, I grabbed a baseball bat and stepped into the hallway. The glass case was open, the doll inside, but the crate was gone. The back door was ajar. Cold air drifted in. Carl hadn't brought the doll for me to see. He wanted to see my reaction. I called 911. Police arrived, no one inside. No signs of forced entry. Carl denied coming back or calling me. He said he'd already picked up the doll, which didn't make sense. When I looked, it was gone. 3 days later, I found fresh, muddy footprints outside my bedroom window, matching his boots. I didn't confront him. I installed cameras. 2 nights later, las 2:58 motion alert. Carl in the backyard, near the kitchen window. Kustaching. Police caught him. He claimed sleepwalking. No arrest. On the final night, las 3 front porch camera caught him placing a small wooden object on the doorstep. I opened it. A single red yarn strand and a note. You opened it. No doll. No case. Real Annabelle never left storage. Carl moved away a week later. No goodbye. No explanation. The fear was senti. About a haunted object. It was about a man testing my boundaries. People can open doors. Objects can't. Even now, every time I wake near 3 a.m., I check cameras and locks. The scariest part wasn't the case being opened. It was realizing someone wanted to see how far they could push me. Have you ever had a neighbor slowly cross lines until normal felt uncertain? Share your story in the comments.